Welcome to the Midwest Education Technology Community Podcast, otherwise known as METC. METC is a nonprofit organization based out of St. Louis, Missouri, with a mission to motivate, engage, transform, and connect all learners to advocacy, partnerships, and professional learning opportunities. METC is a premier affiliate of ISTE. To learn more about METC, follow us on social media at METC EdPlus. You may also check out our website at metcedplus.org. METC is a program of Education Plus. To learn more about Education Plus, go to edplus.org. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the METC Podcast. My name is Jonathan Lee. Again, I will be your host. In this episode, we continue our conversation with Amanda and Krista on Legos and education. In this episode, we focus on some success. What success do they see with their students as they introduce Legos in education to their classrooms? And we talk about some tips and tricks, as you've sure played with Legos before, maybe when you're younger, or maybe you have Legos in your classroom, or maybe you see teachers using Legos in the classroom. You know they come in many pieces, and not all of them are very large. And so keeping up with them is very important. A lot of these kits are very specific, and they give you specific amounts of different pieces. And if you lose those pieces, well, then the kit almost becomes irrelevant per se. You can always replace them, or you can find some other ones, or just kind of do without it. But it's always nice to have all your pieces in there. So Krista and Amanda do a good job of giving us some tips, and so I appreciate them continuing the conversation, and I hope that you get some good ideas from them, and be sure to connect with them. And so let's hear from them themselves. Let's get started. I am here again with Amanda and Krista, and we are continuing our conversation with Legos and education. And we've done a lot of talking about how you can use Legos within the classroom to help with the curriculum, with story starters and coding and robotics. So we're going to kind of switch over to talking about some success stories. And Amanda closed out the first part of the last segment with a success story on a staff meeting, and I think that was an awesome story, and I can see how beneficial that would have been in some of our staff meetings, and I think that's what we want to do in one of our staff meetings at Education Plus, and so I'm excited to have that, so I'm glad you shared that. What are some success stories that you want to share with your kiddos?
I have a Lego success story from my very first year of coaching First Lego League with fourth graders. First Lego League has a section of the core values, and they're basically things that keep the kids in check and make sure that they are being the best person they can be. We are a team. We know our coaches and mentors don't have all the answers. We work together. We have fun. And one of the core values is what we learn is more important than what we win. And my first year coaching, I made a mistake, as most coaches do every time, it's their first time coaching something. And I actually got our team disqualified from the robotics portion because their arm on the robot extended over the baseline. Not knowing that, when we check the scoreboard after every time we do something, we were just points away from advancing, and learning that it was my fault that I had gotten the team disqualified. I started crying, and one of my little fourth graders, the smallest one on the team, he looks up at me and he says, "Miss Rouse, don't forget what we learn is more important than what we win." And it just made me cry even harder, knowing that I had made a huge difference in that kid, and that is something that he hopefully will remember for the rest of his life. And not taking himself too seriously, knowing that learning and the experience is more important than sometimes what we get out of it or what we win. So that was huge for me, and I don't think I'll ever forget that.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, you were in a competition
Yes.
And I'm sure it's a huge deal, and to hear
yes.
one of your students say that's got to be just downright amazing.
I mean, they knew the pressure. It's a worldwide competition. You're essentially competing with everyone in the world. Countries all over participate, 4th through 8th grade, and he just looked up at me without hesitating at all, and said, "What we learn is more important than what we win." So. It's going to make me cry right now.
No, we got tissue around.
It was amazing.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Amanda, you have another one? You shared one earlier that was with adults. Yeah. What about a student success story? Students.
Yeah, I would have to definitely say my FLL team was one of my best success stories, which has led me to so many more advances and changes in my personal opinions and views on education and how I function within my classroom, because those core values, like Krista said, just are really awesome. It takes you out of the driver's position and really shows that the kids are responsible and that they have a role and a part as well, and that their personalities and their character is just as important as what's being taught or what they're learning. So we had a team, brand new, 4th grade. They were the youngest group. Krista also has 4th graders, so they're the youngest out of the 4th through 8 competition. No idea what I was doing either. Luckily, Krista kind of guided me through a few things, but she also had her own team to worry about. And we ended up winning 2 awards for being the youngest team. They won an award for robot design, which the robot was probably the most simple robot out of all the teams, but they could talk about what they did to get there. And they could talk about the teamwork and the problem solving and how they ran into issues and what they did to solve it. So it wasn't that they had the most complicated or that they were the smartest or, knew the best science or math or anything like that, but it was the way they communicated together, the way they worked together, the way they problem solved and kept going. And they won a 2nd award because they got the most points. Also, we picked the simplest things to do. But it was really cool to see how they came together. And on competition day, they're helping other teams that are struggling and practicing and giving them pieces and materials. And we had other teams giving us materials, like just how well everyone works together and wants to see the others succeed. And then transferring that over into the classroom and showing kids those same values.
I think a lot of adults and teachers could actually learn a lot from that as well, and use it in the classroom as a personal goal, because so many times I think, like I said earlier and at the beginning, that in education there's so much pressure on teachers and pressure from administrators and pressure from parents, and just to take a step back and to realize that, we're all in this together. We might disagree with other teachers, but we're doing what's best for our students, and we want them to succeed, and that needs to be the main focus. And a lot of the LEGO FLL core values can easily translate into anyone's everyday life.
Yeah, I agree. I look at these core values for them, and I say, we had core values at the school I used to work at, and they are very similar. And I love the one that says, we are a team, and team can easily be family. We are a family of learners and team members, and so, I like that a lot. So as educators are looking and listening to this podcast, it's like, okay, all right, I want to try Legos in my classroom. What tips or tricks can you give them? Because I tell you, I like to remain organized, and when I look at a story starter kit and it says 235 pieces, I know they're not all big bricks, so there's a lot of little pieces. How do we keep them? What are some tips and tricks you can share?
Tackle boxes will become your new best friend. So there's the little jewelry organizers from Walmart that you can put beads in, the ones you use to put beads in. Okay. They're like $2 or $3. Those are amazing for the little pieces. We got some bigger tackle boxes from Harbor Freight. I know lots of other places you can order them online, Amazon, free shipping.
And we even have little Tic Tac boxes for the tiny little pieces.
We do. We save Tic Tac boxes because that way only a couple could come out at a time. So, tackle boxes are amazing. They've been a big help. And I think when you, like you had said with the story starters, there's a lot of different expansion kits. Like there's a fairy tale one. I think there's a forest, something magical. So there's all these different kits. And when I have something like that, I only get one kit out at a time. That way those students are only using those that are in the kit. So if they get mixed up within the kit, fine, that's all right. But to cross the expansion kits, that might get a little sticky. So I would only get out one at a time of just one kit in particular.
I would also say we number our kits. Like, your motor for your We-Dos or your EV3 actual bricks, we would number them and they would match with a specific box so that you didn't get lost. So if you had any big pieces or things like that, I would suggest numbering them.
For my 3rd and 4th grade EV3 Lego club, we have Ziploc baggies, and they're numbered, and they go with their Lego robot that's also numbered, so they know that they have to match. There's a lot of little tips and tricks out there that we found. But I think tackle boxes is probably my favorite thing. I'm very OCD and organized. So if the kids know the importance of, if they lose a Lego, that can mess up the entire thing. If
like part of a puzzle.
It is. It's part of a puzzle piece. You can't do a puzzle if a piece is missing. So
one of the coolest things too we learned when we were at a training, and I went home and immediately reorganized all my boxes, was the Legos. If you stack them, you can, if you have a whole bunch of the same piece, then you could stack them, but you stack them one off, because if you stack them straight on top of each other, you're never going to get them apart.
It's very hard, unless you have the Lego tool separator.
You're going to break a nail, for sure.
Yes.
So stack them one off, one off. Stair
Yes.
And then you can easily count how many are there and make sure that you've got all your pieces and what you need.
That was definitely a really good tip that I loved from one of the Lego trainings with Laura.
Yeah.
And so when you get just to finalize this point, so when you get a kit out and when you start putting it away, do you actually have kids, how often do you try to keep track of how many pieces? And do you worry about every single piece?
Once a year I glance and do a quick inventory. Right. I think after working with it for so long, you kind of know what pieces are there and what are missing. So the first year I did it, I tried to count after every session. And it's just, that's a lot of counting. So, you learn what's in there. And like Amanda said, with the connecting the pieces like stairs, it's a lot quicker to count and quickly see if you're missing a piece. So
I find myself kind of hovering over the students occasionally and just making sure everything's in the right spot or checking in on things. And they always come to me if they're missing something or need a piece, because if they start sharing between each other, then you have no idea what's going on.
Become best friends with your custodian. My custodian, personally, she crawls on the floor before she vacuums. And so every morning when I come in, if there were Legos on the floor, they will be on my desk. And so
that's pretty amazing.
Your custodian is your best friend. Shout out to Miss Corey. She's amazing at Blackhurst. So we don't have very many missing Legos, I think, specifically because of her. So...
Cool.
But I guess another tip or trick I think would be, like I had mentioned earlier with garage sales. That's a great way to find Legos if you don't have funding, or using Donors Choose. Just reaching out. My school has a Facebook page. So if your school or you have your own personal Facebook, you can reach out and ask, if anybody has any Lego donations that they would be willing to give to your school. That's a great way to help build up your stock. So.
Cool. Did you have one?
You just can never have too many Legos. So.
I agree with that.
Yeah. No, I can see it happening. The more the Legos you have, probably the better you'd be. The more you can build. And so I like that. So, all right. So we've come to the end of the episode. Amanda and Krista, I want to thank you very much for taking your time.
Anytime.
And joining our episode.
Yes.
And so I appreciate it. It is their first episode, but I have to say I'm pretty impressed.
We made it.
Everything is awesome.
Pretty amazing. So as we've got our listeners looking to get started with Lego, how again can they connect with you to seek out some assistance?
Yeah, definitely. They can hit us up on Twitter at Miss Morris Learns.
Miss Rouse in the LIB. I think after going through the competition, you learn that the Lego community, like the coaches, are very helpful. So there's a whole community out there if you need anything. You can go to the FIRST website, which is FIRST. It actually is an acronym, but I can't remember what it is right now. But firstlegoleague.com, they have connections on there that you can get phone numbers or emails. You can email myself at krouse@stcharlessd.org.
You're going to get lost on mine because there's 2 M's.
Oh.
A.M. Morris at stcharlessd.org.
Oh, okay. And, sorry, I know we said we were going to close it, but you brought up, as we talked about resources, I know we're in St. Louis, so anybody that's in the St. Louis area listening, we have been lucky enough to have the championships for First Lego League. And that is coming up as this episode will air probably right before that comes up. And it is downtown St. Louis, so if you're anywhere close to St. Louis and you are curious about how Legos can affect your students, I would highly recommend checking this out.
It's free.
Mind-blowing.
Free, mind-blowing. It's
amazing experience.
Early childhood all the way up to your high school kids. And, I just remember last year was my first time ever going, and it was completely new to me. And they have a pit row there. And I'm walking down pit row, and I'm meeting kids from China. I'm meeting kids from St. Charles. I'm meeting kids from California, Hawaii. I mean, it was just amazing, one after the other. So it was an amazing experience to see that. So if you're in the St. Louis area, check out First Lego League Championships downtown St. Louis. And it will just change your thought.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So thanks again, you two, and thank you for checking out the podcast, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't be afraid to play. Are you interested in bringing Legos into your classroom and allowing your students to play and build, all while learning the concepts you already have to teach? Are you not sure where to start? Well, METC has many different Lego workshops available over the next couple months. Topics include STEM, EV3s, We Do and We Do 2.0, and story starters. So be sure to check out METC Ed Plus for the full lineup and sign up for a session today. All right, well, that concludes our conversation with Krista and Amanda. Those two educators really love play and getting their kids to use their creativity and build with those Legos and work together as teams and explain their understanding. And it sounds like they really have a great understanding of the core values and they put them to good use. And so it's great to hear. So again, reach out to Amanda and Krista, give them a shout out. Connect with them on Twitter and ask them any questions you may have and see if they can help you. They both seem like they want to help others, and so definitely use them as a resource. So that concludes our episode. Again, don't forget to check out metcedplus.org for more information. Leave us some feedback on the podcast website there. You can always check out the show notes, please. All the resources they shared and talked about is mentioned in there as well. And until our next episode, take care. Thank you for listening to the Midwest Education Technology Communities Podcast, otherwise known as METC. To learn more about METC, check out our website at metcedplus.org or follow us on social media at METC Ed Plus. Learn more about Education Plus at edplus.org.